Good evening and welcome to Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation. We are here again on Monday night. I know it's football night, but we got some good stuff for you tonight. So zoom back in when the football game is over and introducing Ms. Bobbi Simmons, who is our guest this evening. She's a poet, an author, a jazz enthusiast, and an adventurist, and has spent 2.5 decades, 2.5 decades teaching in various genres of reading and writing. Bobbi, welcome to Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation this evening. Glad to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm just so elated to be a part of your platform. Thank you for having me.
And I'm elated that you and your husband are Steeler fans. Thank you very much, Mama Tony. Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation is sponsored by Eyeless Diamonds LLC, the Fresh Book Festival, which will be held in the beautiful city of Daytona Beach, February 23, 24, 25, and 2023. And the website is up. It's www.freshbookfestivals.net. Go on the website, look around, see if there's something there for you, register, and come be with us in February. If you have any questions for Bobbi, please leave them in the chat room. We will try to get back to them at the end of the show. And this conversation is being recorded. Good evening, Bobbi. Please take a moment and give our audience a brief background.
Yes, I am, as you said, 25 plus years of teaching in middle school. I taught middle school students. Recently retired. I've been retired. I'm going into 2 years of retirement moment of it. I love, and it gives me more time to write, so I can actually develop and write more. I love being in my gardens. I love vegetable gardens, flower gardens. I do all of that throughout the day. Been married to my husband for 10 years. We recently renewed our vows in Egypt.
Oh.
That was very exciting. I am a
so Bobbi, I'm gonna need you to talk into the audio. I don't know where it's located, but you're coming in and out for us.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. You might want to scoot up to it. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Wife, mother, grandmother, and we both enjoy spending time with our grandkids. That's a little snippet of me.
Yes, and Miss Bobbi is very close. She's in Jacksonville, Florida. We hope that she will join us at the Fresh Book Festival in February for the first time. I think you will really enjoy it. And so let's get right to it. Bobbi, is Birdsong a book that was turned into poetry or poetry that was turned into a book?
Birdwild was from a poem that I wrote. I entered a contest for colorism healing, and I wrote a poem titled Black Cotton. The poem deals with colorism and racism, and the book actually takes components from the poem, and I implemented it into a story that revolves around the main character. So the book itself has components of the poem in it.
Is it just one poem or many?
Yes, it's just one poem that I wrote that I used to give me some leverage as far as writing it into the book.
This is your first book?
This is my first book. Yes.
So why were you compelled to write the story about family dynamics, lies, secrets, forgiveness, and acceptance?
Being a part of a large extended family, I was always in family environments, and I would listen to stories that were being told by family members. And although they were telling these jolly, happy stories, to me, there was something a little bit more under the surface that was not being told. So it propelled me to say, you know what? Let me just dig a little bit more. And as I would go around family and listen to more and more about family stories, I discovered that there are a lot of family secrets that are not discussed at the Sunday table. So it propelled me to want to write about those things that I saw as a child coming up that were not discussed. I wanted to get it out. I wanted to put a face on it because a lot of people growing up in the South experience a lot of the things that I alluded to in the book, The Secret.
You had to change some of the names to protect the innocent, right?
I did. When I speak of the pastor in the story, the pastor, some of the other components of the story, yes, I did. I had to because it's a small town. And people will very quickly recognize exactly who I'm talking about. So I did change the name.
And some of those people are still alive today.
Yes, they are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They are.
So when we talk about forgiveness and acceptance, did you find in this family that you're writing about that they did have forgiveness and acceptance, or no?
To certain degrees in it, certain extents, there was. In other cases, no. Some secrets and unforgiveness goes to the grave. It never happened. So in this particular family, there were some and there were some not. But in the second book, I'm doing a second book. I know I'm jumping ahead.
That's all right.
There will be some links that you'll see where there will be more acceptance and forgiveness in it. But as I ended the first book, not so much. A little from certain characters and not so much.
Not so much from the main character.
Yes.
Right. So how did you develop the main character? Give us some background on that.
Bree, which is the main character, the protagonist in the book. I developed her, all of my characters were based upon characteristics of people I knew. I took little snippets from things I observed about them, and I wrote it into those characters. I developed characters based on that. She was developed based on childhood memories I had as a child. Some of the things I experienced as a child, I wrote those feelings and emotions into her character.
But there are other characters, so let's talk about one or two of them.
Okay. Matt, her cousin, which later on, I don't want to do a spoiler for those that haven't read the book, who he becomes in the book. He's introduced as her first cousin. I wrote him based on a cousin that would always come to visit me during the summers. He was always that rock that she needed, that person that kept her balanced, that energy she needed in order to survive where she was, the conditions that she was in. So Matt, I did a book club meeting, and Matt actually was the favorite character in the book for the people in that particular book club, because he had that gentle side. He was always her support, that rock that she needed. So I developed this character based on first cousin of mine, and he is just, his head is so big. When I told him that I developed that character about him, it really, made him feel good, because he didn't see me writing that into the book. And I just developed Matt based on his characters.
Let's talk about your publishing experience. Everybody has a different one, right? What about your publishing experience with Black Gold Publishing?
Black Gold is just awesome. It's like a family community. We all support each other. We buy each other's books. The CEO is young, very young lady. She's super. Her energy, her innovation, her creativity, support is just indescribable. The whole staff at Black Gold, remarkable. I've had an awesome experience. And right now I'm in the process of writing my first children's book, a series of children's books I will be doing. And she's just been so supportive in getting those things and elements that I need in order to do those things that I've been wanting to do.
What about the editing and developing of the book cover? Did they help you with that? And are they local? No,
they're in Virginia, off of Hampton Road in Virginia. Publishing house there, hybrid publishing.
It's called what? I'm sorry, you missed that. We missed that. What publishing?
They're a hybrid company.
A hybrid.
Yeah, they help you. They developed the cover. I had a young lady with the company that edited my book, Noelle Brooks. She did an amazing job. She spent hours and months we spent just doing the editing and rewrites and let's not put this in, let's take this chapter out. She was so amazing in helping me get that process done. So
Is she part of the Black Gold Publishing, or is she somebody
yes.
different?
No, she's part of that group. She's
Okay.
part of Black Gold. Everything has been done through Black Gold. The cover, the editing, everything, graphics, everything that you see. This is a product of Black Gold.
Why that cover?
I don't know. My editor, she decided on it when she said it to me. I was like, cool, I love it. I don't know where how she came up with it, but when she sent it to me, she sent me one early, and I was like, not so much. But this one, I don't know. This kind of depicts that silhouette, that unknowing about what's in the book. I think it kind of pulls you in the book, so to speak. I love the cover. I just let her use her imagination in it.
So tell us about your writing process. Do you write in chapters? Do you write in outlines, scenes? Do you write by dates? Tell us how you write.
This particular book, I put it by chapter. I wanted to experiment with that to see what it was like. I find that to be a little bit more compelling to do that. So the second book I'm writing, I'm using dates because it doesn't drag it out so much. This was drug out over years, for like from childhood to adulthood. The second book will be a mesh of dates, maybe over a period of a summer, which will make it a lot shorter for me. This one I really wrote. We should have. I didn't realize when it was done how much I had put into it, and if I'd known, I wouldn't have written it long. So I'm going to go with dates this time around.
Is it going to be a trilogy, or what are we looking at?
Yes, it's going to be a trilogy. The next one will actually be a murder mystery because I wanted to try a different genre, and I wanted to take this one to a different level, try something new as far as writing. So, yes, it will be. We're hoping for it. I'm about certain after I finish the second.
So you spent decades teaching. When did you decide that you wanted to be a writer?
When I watch my students are actually the ones that convinced me to write. I would read their writings, and some of them had such a talent that they really didn't even know that they even had. And their writings would just pull me in. And I'm like, if I can teach, they can give me this product. Why can't I do the same thing? So I just started because of my students. They were actually that motivation that I needed to complete this project.
And once you decided to do it, how long did it take?
This book started out as so many different types of books. I started out writing an educational book, which I felt like nobody wants to hear that. They already know that. So then I changed it to a self-help book. Throughout it, it became like 4 or 5 different types of books. I have stacks of stuff in my closet where I kept changing and throwing it in the closet and starting over. So I would say at least 5 to 6 years, this process to get to this point.
Do you have a copy of the poem there that you could reference? Okay. Could you read that poem to us?
Oh, lengthy. What? And let's see. Find it. That's what
We're real proponents of reading out loud. I probably should have told you that. We like stories.
Okay, it's called Black Cotton.
Black cotton?
Cotton, like the cotton in the fields.
Okay.
From the roots of my head sprang strands of gorgeous hair, natural, kinky, coiled together, not straight and flat to the glare. Years of growth without being tamed by the world's cultural norms, Black cotton has no shame and knows only her claim against conformity. You top the crowns of many light and dark, young and old, so many different textures, glorious, majestic, natural, and bold. Black cotton sat in many churches with joy of no stairs, but entered classes, restaurants, movie theaters, and held back tears. Years before, when my ancestors labored and picked fields of white cotton, one never knew black cotton from their roots, never be forgotten. Backs bent with heads hung low, They labored to carry the master's white cotton load. Black cotton style and statuesque grace changed to the Black woman's gratifying goal. To go far beyond the restricted boundaries of white cotton fields, breaking glass ceilings, exploring uncharted airfields. Black cotton rises each day with positive energy, willing to give her all, never thinking of those things from yesterday that are now befallen. Role model to young and seasoned women who were not taught to be happy with the skin they're in. Black cotton is a vision of strength, determination, and beauty, a proclamation to victory. For my peripheral, I feel the warmth in eyes as they try to out a strategy. Avoiding contact, not concentrating on black cotton in my head, watching my anatomy. In a world where beauty is
Move forward, Bobbi. Move forward. Move forward. Yeah.
crown to toe, you prefer to look beyond my heritage, my grace, my vibrant glow. Years of loving my black cotton crown as I watched it now turn to white cotton.
Wow. That's a process when it turns from black to white.
Yes, yes.
Going through that right now. Thank you
Yes.
very much for that.
You're very welcome.
Is that a book that you wrote?
No, this is a Colorism Healing Writing Contest that I participate in every year. And they're open up for poetry. It's like a healing process for people that have dealt with colorism throughout their life.
Mm-hmm.
So she opens up a contest every year and people send in their work and she publishes in her book. I had a few other pieces that were published as well.
So your main character has a real journey through her past and her present. What are some key factors you want the reader to take away from this book?
Based on Bree's experiences, perseverance, to press on and be the best that you can be, no matter what the circumstances, what you're given, what the hand you're dealt. You have to persevere. You can't just give up and give in to, even if it's family, you still have to persevere. And that's what she does in the book. That would be my key takeaway. Perseverance and learning to love yourself. Love yourself, because she goes through people making fun of her dark skin, her hair. Her parents didn't like the way she looked. So you have to love yourself no matter what you think of. And that's the key components I would love for people to take away from the book.
When you were teaching full time, what seemed to be the biggest challenge for young people today when it comes to writing?
I would say them thinking that texting is a language.
Okay.
And they want to put emojis on writing assignments, and they get mad when you put a red mark around it and say, this is not how we talk. Understand the language of writing. Kids are not taught grammar. They don't know what a sentence is. You can't write a paragraph if you can't write a sentence. So knowing the parts of speech, this is something as simple as you ask a child, what's a noun in a sentence? What is a verb? You know, how do I add an adjective into this to make this interesting? They have no concept. I struggled trying to, middle school, teach what I felt like they should have known third grade. A simple sentence, capital letter, something need to be at the end of it, you know, to make it a sentence. That's what I struggled with, just getting them to understand the simple concept of how to write a simple sentence. If you can write me a sentence, then we can, you know, we can talk, because then you can write. So that's what I struggled with.
So grammar is not taught in school anymore? And the art of making a sentence is not, I mean, it's been a long time since I've been.
Not really. I see Miss Tony shaking her head no. So she understands the struggle in in all of this because she was there. It's not taught like the way we learned it, I'll say. We learned how to write put a capital letter at the beginning, period at the end, and something in between there. But now I do before I left, parts and whatever else that stuff. But they think that that's actually a language. And technology is really, really great. I think it's stunning. You know, they don't know how to write,
Mm.
and they get angry when you want to teach them how to write it correctly. So that was my struggle. Even with gifted students, I had a gifted just before I left, and there was not a whole lot of difference in that.
So let's go back to Birdwild. What part of the United States did the book emanate from?
My little small hometown in South Carolina, called Allendale, South Carolina. I wrote it based on because I wanted it to be real, and I realized that when I started it, I had this fictitious name, and I'm like, oh, nobody's gonna really probably won't pull people in as much as if it was something that they can relate to. So I made it a real place, a real little small town that I grew up in South Carolina.
And so I'm not from South Carolina. What things in the book would make me know that's where it is?
The trees,
The what?
nature, the descriptions that I give of various trees, vegetation, landmarks like low country. I talk about Yamasee, South Carolina, which is down near Charleston, South Carolina. So some of the little towns that I mentioned throughout, like Orangeburg, South Carolina, where she goes to college. Some of the other things, the descriptive things that I tell, would actually give you a sense of this is some little small town in the South, just based on how I describe things in the book.
There was one of the characters who had an illness, right?
Yes.
Is that illness something that you're very familiar with?
Very familiar with. My mother had it, and my brother. So that's why I could write about it. She had a polycystic kidney. So yes,
Come towards the audio, because go ahead.
yes, my mother had that particular disease.
What is it called?
Polycystic kidney disease, where one of your kidneys is larger than the other one.
Okay.
Yes.
And your kidneys just fail.
Yes. Due to high blood pressures and other types of illnesses that she had at that time. Yes, it causes your kidneys to fail.
I figured you had an astute background in it, right? Because
Yes.
people can't write about that kind of illness without knowing, firsthand.
Yes.
About how to deal with it and how you feel about it, and going through that process.
Yes.
So
15 years she went through that process of going to dialysis 3 times a week. Yeah.
And is your mother still alive? I wasn't.
No, she passed away over 30 years ago.
Okay.
Yes.
So is there anything else you'd like to tell us about the book in the conversation?
Well, the book, it continues to receive 5-star reviews, which I'm really, really happy about. I would encourage and ask that if you haven't read it, to read it. Let me know what you think about it. I love getting feedback because every time I talk to someone, I get a different level of feedback on it. And that's really, really exciting. Hear what people say. Everybody has something to say about it. So it's encouraging people to read it. See if you can find yourself in it. Most people can find something in there that they can they can connect to. So I wrote it hoping that it would be relatable, that you could find something that relates to you, and so maybe something to someone you knew that has similar circumstances.
So tell us how to get copies of the book and what your platforms are, and how to reach Black Gold Publishing, because there's so many people out there looking for a publisher. That when we started writing, a lot of us started writing, a lot of the publishing houses were taking advantage of melanated people trying to write and making them pay way more money than they should in order to put their product out. So give us some information on Black Gold Publishing and your platforms where we can reach you.
Black Gold, as I said, is out of Hampton, Virginia. Tahara is the editor and CEO. She's a 30-year-old, like I said, superstar to me. She looks for people of color. Her whole concept is to publish people that don't have a platform or voice in this. So her book, her objective goals is to bring in more people that look like us. I have her information. If you go on Facebook, she has a page there. You can go on there. She'll reach out. She's very personable with you, very connected to what you're trying to do. I can get the information to you, but she's located in Hampton, Virginia.
Okay.
My platform, I have a Facebook page. It's Birdwild Project. I've sort of taken and converted this into like a little business type venture for me. So it's Birdwild Project. If you go on Facebook and you Google Birdwild Project, that's my page. And I always put information about things that's going on with my books and what I'm doing. I had a book signing in Atlanta about 2 weeks ago. I put those things on my page to invite you to it. You can also purchase my book from Amazon. It's on Kindle, Barnes and Noble, Books A Million, some of these other places. Walmart has it, Goodreads. That's a Books A Million. And there are other outlets out there. With a whole list of places come up that you can actually purchase.
So you don't have your own personal website connected to the book at this point?
Birdwild is my personal website that's connected to it.
Okay.
Yes. And
can we purchase the book from your website?
No, I don't have it set up to purchase it from mine. Okay. But if you go to Black Gold bookstore, you can purchase it from Black Gold. They have a bookstore there.
Okay.
She's running it through her bookstore.
Okay. So Bobbi, we asked, go ahead.
If you want to reach me, my email is simmonsbobbi04@gmail.com.
simmonsbobbi04@gmail.com.
Yes.
So we ask each of our guests to leave us with a pearl of wisdom, and we will ask you for that now.
Based on the concept of the book theme, I read a little post today. I was going to say something else, and then I saw this. It's just grabbed me. It says, "The truth may hurt, but lies will kill us." So I just kind of took that to be sort of like a theme. Tell the truth in this. Those lies that we keep trying to sweep under the rug and whatnot, eventually they will come up. They will be unveiled.
What's done in the dark,
it will come to the light.
Will come to the light.
Yes.
Yeah. What did your grandma used to say? Tell the truth, and shame the devil.
Yeah, you go.
Tell the truth, and shame the devil.
Yes,
so thank you, Bobbi, for being here this evening. I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm going to ask you, Bobbi, to stay on, and you, Mama Tony, to stay on, so you guys can do whatever you need to do to get connected, reconnected. And everyone else, I thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank
you for listening.
Oh, yeah. You're a Steeler fan. We're connected for life now. So secrets are hard to tell, hard to explain, and hard to keep. Secrets are hard to tell, hard to explain, and hard to keep. If your family secret has the potential to harm a generation, make sure that that secret is told.
Yes. I love that piece when I read it. I love that.
So thank you, everybody, for being here. Ladies, stay on. We will see you next Monday. Pray for us in Florida that the hurricane moves to the east and not to the west. Moves to the west and not to the east, right? Exactly.
Yes.
So thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night, Bobbi. Thank you.
Good night.
No, you stay on. Yeah.
Okay.